A recent decision by a federal judge in Oklahoma could have national ramifications for same-sex marriage. U.S. District Judge Terrence Kern found that Oklahoma's 9-year-old gay marriage ban is unconstitutional. Judge Kern placed a stay on his order, pending an appeal which is likely to be heard with a similar case from Utah. Both cases could end up before the U.S. Supreme Court, where the issue of same-sex marriage could be decided for all states.
The news out of Oklahoma rang from coast to coast.
A federal district court judge in Oklahoma tonight has ruled that that state's ban on same-sex marriage is unconstitutional under federal law.
United States District Judge Terrence Kern struck down a 2004 amendment to the Oklahoma State Constitution that banned same-sex marriage by defining marriage in the state as the union between one man and one woman. Judge Kern's decision reads in part that the Oklahoma amendment violates the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution by precluding same-sex couples from receiving an Oklahoma marriage license. He also wrote that the amendment is an arbitrary, irrational exclusion of just one class of Oklahoma citizens from a governmental benefit. The ruling came as a result of a legal challenge to the amendment filed by Sharon Baldwin and Mary Bishop and another Tulsa gay couple 9 years ago.
And we were elated. We were just so elated. And as Sharon said, there was somewhat of a sense of disbelief that it had finally happened. I was just so emotional that I was shaking.
Baldwin and Bishop have been together 17 years. They work at the Tulsa World newspaper, and since the judge's ruling, they have been dogged by reporters.
MSNBC, New York Times, LA Times,
of course the AP.
AP.
Wow, boy, if things keep going like that, someone's going to write a whole musical about that place.
Even popular comedians have given them a shout out. But for the most part, their legal fight has been arduous.
We would look at comments from readers on print stories about our lawsuit online. And 9 years ago, there were an awful lot of hateful things being said, and now there are very few. And most of the commenters on those online stories are very positive and supportive, even here in Oklahoma.
There are still many who don't support Baldwin and Bishop. Former state senator James Williamson drafted what was called the Marriage Protection Amendment.
Many people are very disappointed that states don't have the right to decide such issues, such basic fundamental issues like who should be allowed to marry.
Homosexuality is not a civil right, it's a human wrong.
State Representative Sally Kern is outspoken on the issue.
Homosexuals are saying this is who we are. This is how we're born. And that is you tell a lie long enough, people begin to believe it.
State Representative Mike Turner says he's filed legislation calling for a second vote to ban same-sex marriage.
I happen to strongly feel that a lot of my constituents, that they are under attack, that they feel that this is judicial activism, that the people have been overturned when it was passed by a significant margin, and they're going to want a rebuttal. And I just want to be able to sit there and provide the opportunity for them to be able to express their rebuttal to what they see as a federal overreach and ignoring the will of Oklahoma.
75% of Oklahoma voters approved the Marriage Protection Amendment 9 years ago. And in response to Judge Kern's decision, Governor Mary Fallin issued this statement. The people of Oklahoma have spoken on this issue. I support the right of Oklahoma's voters to govern themselves on this and other policy matters. I am disappointed in the judge's ruling and troubled that the will of the people has once again been ignored by the federal government. Kelly Kirby and Charles Johnston of Tulsa were married in California in 2008. They see the ruling another way.
I said this to friends. If the majority rules was always right, there are southern states that will still have slaves. It takes the courts to say, sometimes we have to step in and decide that the rights of the minority are more important than the wishes of the majority.
In his decision, Judge Kern spoke to the majority. He wrote, It is not a scarce commodity to be meted out begrudgingly or in short portions. Therefore, the majority view in Oklahoma must give way to individual constitutional rights. He also stated, equal protection is at the very heart of our legal system and central to our consent to be governed.
Do you feel validated?
Oh, absolutely. We have had so much support from our friends and people we don't even know. They're coming kind of out of the woodwork to say thank you to us, and we say, hey, we're doing it for all of us, not just for us.
However, Bishop and Baldwin know their legal battle is not over. Judge Kern stayed his own ruling pending the appeal of a same-sex marriage case out of Utah, which will be heard at the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals in Denver. It is similar to Oklahoma's case, in which an appeal has also been filed at the 10th Circuit.
And our cases are very similar. So we are hoping that maybe the 10th Circuit Court will kind of consolidate our two cases and hear them on the same schedule.
Tulsa County District Attorney Tim Harris is also hoping the cases will be heard at the same time. He's defending Tulsa County Court Clerk Sally House Smith, who is named as a defendant in the case because she refused to issue Bishop and Baldwin a marriage license in 2009. However, Harris will not be arguing the case. He has signed a co-counsel contract with attorneys working for an Arizona-based organization called Alliance Defending Freedom. The group is taking the case pro bono. Harris says they have expertise he doesn't, and the alliance represents a philosophy he believes in.
I believe God created man and woman to procreate and to create children. And you can't do that between a man and a woman and a woman. So if that's natural law that's originally devised by God, yes, you have a legal argument, but it's a legal argument that has even deeper foundations upon which we rely. And so we will make our legal argument, but philosophically, I think it goes much deeper than that.
Harris says the legal argument is clear. He believes the 10th Amendment supports Oklahoma's ban on same-sex marriage. It gives states all powers that are not granted to the federal government by the Constitution. He respectfully thinks Judge Kern erred by basing his decision on the 14th Amendment.
He used the 14th Amendment to say that the definition of marriage in Oklahoma violates the Equal Protection Clause of Miss Bishop and her partner, okay? Well, from a legal standpoint of view, he's using the 14th Amendment to trump the 10th Amendment, and I personally don't think he can do that, nor can I think he legally can do that, okay?
The 10th Circuit has not yet scheduled a hearing date on either the Utah or Oklahoma cases.
I think that we will probably prevail at the 10th Circuit this year, and then it will probably be appealed to the Supreme Court, which could take another year or so, but I'm not upset about that because I really think this needs to go to the Supreme Court so that a ruling can be made that will affect the whole nation.
Right.
We want marriage equality to be the law of the land.
Bishop and Baldwin did have a commitment ceremony several years ago, but are hopeful to have a marriage ceremony in Oklahoma in the next 2 years.